Hi everyone, welcome back to KU Podcast, where we just not discuss about academic things, but we all talk about how globally our entrepreneurs have made us reach. So basically, today in this episode, we have Kumar Manish sir with us, who is going to discuss with us how far his journey have come from a journalist to a consultant at a big institute like UNICEF. So, hi sir, can you please brief description of how your journey have been?
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for inviting me for this special podcast on Karnavati University. So I'm Kumar Manish. My journey started from Bihar. I come from Bihar, and after doing my plus two, I moved to Delhi, doing my English literature graduation, and then I was doing my masters. But that time period, I got this bug of journalism. I wanted to do something different, and I thought, ki, what can be better than writing opinions and also highlighting issues which is close to my heart and the things which I can observe on ground. And that's how whole my journey started in journalism. And of course, during that time period, it was advised to go through a journalism a school and learn the tricks and trades of the journalism as a profession. So of course, I went to Times School of Journalism. I did my 1 year PG diploma from there, and 6 months of internship. So 6 months of theory classes and then 6 months of internship. But I can tell you very confidently that those 6 months of internship really transformed me as an individual, me as a professional, because then I realized that whatever you learn in theory in your classes is nothing when you go out in the real world. Things change very drastically. And your job is to talk to people, and I tend to be very shy or introvert kind of a person. But thanks to journalism, I become much more extrovert, and I will become much more confident in talking to any sort of people, whether they are bureaucrats, whether they are politicians, whether they are a business person, whether they are academician. And I give a lot of credit to journalism for shaping my career, also shaping me as an individual. So the other thing that after, of course, I went to journalism, and then I gave almost 5 years of my journalism, my heart and soul into it. But one fine day, I thought ki things are not working out. There's only learning curve for me as an individual, and I thought ki I have to move out. And during that time period, there's a lot of digital things that were happening, like social media were coming up. And as a professional, you have to always have your ears on the ground, and you have to keep a tab what's happening in front of you, how world is moving, what are new technologies coming. So luckily, I was being mentored by the right kind of people who always advised me, who always guided me that you should always explore new things, rather than sticking to one thing, because world is changing very fast. And that's how I moved into development communication, and development communication is a domain where social media and communication was not thought so much. I'm talking about way back in year 2012.
No, that's long.
Yes, almost a decade back. And thought I have some skill set of digital media. So my job is also to communicate. And I thought, let me communicate to the issues which are close to my heart. So again, I joined an international organization called ITDP, which is New York based. And I was talking about why public transport is important, why walking is important in our cities, why cycling is important in our cities. And because ultimately, we as an individual or we as a professional, we want a livable city. We want to have free, clean air. And that's the most important thing. And we can see the example in Delhi. How people are moving out of Delhi because of pollution. There's a whole new term called pollution refugees. So people are leaving their home estate and moving to places where they can breathe fresh air. So I was lucky and fortunate to understand the sustainable mobility as space, and I started working towards it. So I played
from very long back.
Yes, very long back.
Great, sir. And then how did you become an active part of a BRIC youth? Like, it's a real great achievement, I feel like.
Yes. So over the years, I have been lucky to working with a lot of youth organizations. And as part of my career also, I always created new platforms for young people to come and share their journey
Yeah.
or learn new things. So over the years, I have been developed those platforms, whether it's Responsibly Digital, whether it's a community of Twitter user, which we now call X user. So BRICS Youth Alliance is one of such platform which has come up recently. The whole idea is to how we can give global exposure to the local students and local youths, because the world is changing. We are no more a person living in a well.
Yeah.
You have to come out of that well, because there's a whole effort to become a global citizen.
Yeah.
And like, for example, I have been to a lot of fellowship programs, and I've traveled more than 22 or 25 countries.
That's
So far.
amazing.
Yes, thanks to fellowship programs where I have to apply, and once I get selected, I went there, and so that has given me a lot of perspective of how world is evolving, and especially how young people are taking the lead. So in that context, we have started this BRIC Youth Alliance. The whole idea is that I have gained some experience. I have been mentored with the right kind of people, and my job is to provide this opportunity to other young people, and that's the whole idea of BRIC Youth Alliance. And BRIC Youth Alliance, we are trying to give opportunity to young people to go and have an experience of how the global youths are working, how they are working on from public policy to sustainability to economic affairs to management, and also in like also working on AI.
Yeah.
So our job as part of this platform is to create these opportunities for young people so that they can experience. And there's something called tyranny of distance, because people who are living in Ahmedabad,
Yeah.
and they don't have the same set of exposure like what you get in Delhi or maybe in other metro cities. So we are trying to fight that.
Yeah.
Even if the student who is based in Ahmedabad, they should have global exposure, even tier 2 or tier 3 cities. So that's the whole idea, that how we can give opportunities to people who are in these cities, and they experience what's happening in the world, and they can shape that his or her career. So it's basically, what do you call it? Passing on. And so I have learned, and I'm passing on to others.
So now how can a like a university like us can like collaborate and be a part of this?
So one thing is that we are planning a lot of events and lot of discussion forums where the students can participate, they can take the leadership. And I think the most important thing for people of this particular generation is to take the role of a leadership. You have, and we, like, for example, I'm also used to be part of Global Shapers Forum. Now I'm an alumni. It's an initiative by World Economic Forum. And that Global Shapers community, which is an international organization, they have more than 500 hubs across the globe. And one of the major focus of Global Shapers Hub is to give young people a seat at the table.
Oh, that's nice.
Because we only want young people to sit on the audience. But as part of Global Shapers, the opportunity was given to us that we can be on the table and discussing about what challenges we are facing, what kind of issues we are facing, and how we can contribute into it.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is that, like, students from Karnavati University, management, and other streams, they can come and take the role of a leader.
Yeah.
And start the conversation and lead the conversation, because we need young people to lead the conversation, because they are the ones who are going to drive the growth of the country, or the what you call Viksit Bharat.
That's so true, sir.
Yes.
And sir, how do you think that we all are as a like managerial students, so how can we as a community can contribute in this, and like what can be our role in the leadership things?
So because you are going to be future managers and you understand management than anyone, better than anyone else. So one thing is that how management students can design programs, how management students can come and shape this conversation, design this conversation, and bring other people as part of the discussion. So one is mobilizing, the other is taking the leadership in executing these things. And there's a lot of learning into this thing. So you're not just going to interact with the local students, you will also be able to engage with youths from other BRICS country. So that's what we are also trying to focus on. So it's not that you are just sitting here, you're also going to engage with youths in Russia, and Iran, and other countries also.
Yeah. So, sir, if we could just have a little brief about what BRICS Youth is completely, and if you could just describe a little bit about how we can, basically, if people who are not aware of what BRICS Youth is, so they might get to know through this podcast.
Yes. So BRICS Youth Alliance is a network of all the youth in the BRICS country, है ना? And their main goal is to have conversation, to have global connection, to have global network, and focus on issues like sustainability, on diplomacy, in climate change, and all these things. These things are going to impact the youths of these countries. So, and they have to take the lead. They have to come and talk about climate change. They have to come out, talk about the sustainability. What are the things which they are doing?
Yeah.
How they can do things differently? How they can collaborate with youths from other countries? So, it's basically a collaborative platform where we are going to bring these experiences
Okay.
so that they get the exposure. Ultimately, it's a game of exposure. And the most important thing is also building a network of young people now who are doing these things on their own.
Yeah. Okay. And what would be what are the initiatives that are taken by BRICS Youth so far?
So, recently, BRICS Youth Alliance organized a national level event, or we say that international event in Ahmedabad. There were more than 300 youths from across the country, and the 2-day conferences have experts from Russia, and they came and talked about leadership qualities. They talked about how conversation can happen, how to lead a discussion, how public policy works, what is diplomacy, and how they can part of this conversation. So ultimately, the whole focus is to give exposure to young people so that they come and become a public diplomat champion or a public policy professional. So that's what we focused on. 300 youths, they came for 2 days, and we have different session focusing on these things.
Wow, that's an amazing initiative taken by BRICS Youth, I feel like. So, sir, basically, while you were in journalism, through your words, you shaped the world.
Yes.
And now through BRICS, you are shaping our youth. So, sir, how do you think that we as a youth can be an important role in all of this? And how we as children, basically, we are very scared of failures and we are very scared of being rejected, basically. So, how to just, you have been at a lot of stages in your life. So I'm sure that you must have seen failures in your life as well.
Yes.
So how do you think that one person must cope with it, or how we as Gen Zs can cope with rejection, because we all know how we are with rejections and how we take it?
So I must agree one thing, that Gen Z generation have a lot of pressure and a lot of expectations, and it's quite a struggle.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would like to reiterate that there's no failure. Failure should not be treated as a taboo. It's the part of the process. I have also failed in terms of running startups, in running companies, but that gave me a lot of experience and perspective of how things move. So if you're young people, and because you have this 4 years and you have a safer space like Karnavati University, where you should actually fail. There should be no shame in failing, because even if you fail, there's a lot of experience to it. And that's why a lot of celebrated entrepreneurs, they keep on talking about it's good to fail early. And if you're failing early, you will learn very fast. You can build on that. So don't hesitate yourself in doing something without doing it. And once you do it, then you will know, okay, whether you will be able to achieve that or not. Even if you don't achieve it, you will know that what your shortcomings and how you will going to build on that particular shortcomings. So failure should be treated as a learning process. And because you are in university, you have this 4 years of safer space where you can experiment these things. And I will strongly recommend young people to be as participative as possible. Look out for the opportunities. Don't wait for opportunities coming to you. And look out for events which are happening there, which might be related to your interest area. Go and participate into them, and go and ask for internship, go and ask for volunteership, and because these things, if you do, it will really shape you as an individual. Because I have personally gained, and I can speak from my own personal experience, then I have part of these events, part of this fellowship, and that really changed my perspective. I think it has really shaped my career trajectory also, and me also as an individual. And the other thing is also from Gen Z that you have to build connections, you have to build network. As they say, network is your net worth. So start building on those things. Don't hesitate. Yeah. And of course, there might be rejection. I'm not saying that you're not going to get rejection. But even if you get rejection, you should not feel disheartened, because again, you might know that you might be able to understand if you're getting rejection, what is the things which are getting rejected. You can look at those things. And I would strongly recommend the generation to also be self-reflective. Unfortunately, we don't give time to reflect on ourselves. And we
True.
keep on jumping from one experience to other experience.
Yeah.
We don't take a pause. So you have to sometimes take a pause and reflect upon yourself. Okay, where I'm going, whether it's the right direction or not, or whether I to do some course correction. And then you work towards it. But please never hesitate. I'm not saying that you should fail. If it happens, it will. Otherwise, it will really build your character also.
Okay. And sir, like we all know that if things might go south, then how do you think that one person should be grounded and should think that, okay, if even if this happens, I can do this? Because at that point of time, we feel like my world has ended. So how do you think that one person can, work in that? How should that person be thinking and working on it? How can a person be grounded on it?
So one thing is that no, you should have good circles, है. So you have to have that circle of friends who basically believes in uplifting each other.
Yeah.
So you have to identify who are the people who share your journey, who share your pain, and who are willing to uplift you. So that should be one of the goal, because sometimes unfortunately, because of digital screens, we move from one screen to other screen, but we don't give so much time in collecting the real connections and real relationship. So I would strongly recommend and so strongly suggest, even if you have a digital lifestyle, you should also invest some time in building those connections.
Yeah.
Because when time arrives, as you rightly mentioned, when you are down and you're looking for support, these are the people who are going to help you. These are the people who are going to give you a shoulder to
Yeah.
cry on.
Yeah.
And these are the people who are going to give you some kind of a direction, and some time of a patient hearing, because unfortunately we are shrinking ourselves so much that we don't have a ear, a patient ear to listen on. So you have to look at these things, and that will give you a lot of advantage in navigating through these challenges.
Yeah.
Because most of these challenges are very self-driven challenges. So you have to be very cautious and find good people around you, and who is ready to help and support. And also one thing which I have learned also now, that never be afraid of someone saying no.
Yeah.
Because if you don't ask for help, you have already given your chance that the other person is not willing to help.
Yeah.
Until unless you don't ask for help, you never know whether you will get the help
Or not.
not. So there's always should be an attempt to ask for it. And I have learned that thing, that there is no shame in asking for a help.
True. So do you have any experience back in your journey from journalism, then to Bricks, then to consultant at in your UNICEF? Is there have you ever had any experience that you would like to share here that might create an impact on audience?
So, for example, because now when I was doing my career transition for 2 years, I didn't have any salary to say, because I was trying to do something different,
Yeah.
something unique. It didn't work out, but it gave me a lot of confidence that I can survive on my own. Because at that time period, I was doing small projects to survive myself, but I wanted to make that experiment successful. Unfortunately, it didn't succeeded. But that gave me a lot of confidence, and that confidence really gave me a boost to experiment further. Like, for example, I ran a platform called urbanvoices.in. So it's a news and views platform on urban issues, on climate change or environment, on sustainability. And it's a passion project of mine, because I wanted to communicate on these messages, and I have been doing for last 5 years. But now slowly it's shaping up really well. So sometimes some things will not work, but something will work. So you have to keep on experimenting. Again, at the same time, build that connections, build that network, because that will really define who you as a person are.
Oh, that's really an interesting answer, sir. So I would like to know about your startup, Communicate Karo.
Yes.
What was the reason behind it? How did you form it? And what was your thought process behind that startup?
So one thing, the name came Communicate Karo, because now you might be hearing this term in quite frequently, that you don't communicate well,
Yeah.
communicate karaga.
Yeah.
So that's the whole idea of starting Communicate Karo. And because I also wanted to focus on non-profit organization and development sector companies and organization, because there's a huge challenge. They're doing some good work, amazing work, but when it comes to communicating those things, they really lack most of the time. So idea was simple, that how I as a professional can go and help them framing those narratives,
Yeah.
or communicating the issues on which they are working.
Okay.
And digital media platform is a biggest platform. And because if you want to influence people, if you want to nudge people, these are the platforms where we can start.
Yeah.
Of course, you also have to do a groundwork, but digital gives you audience, digital gives you access, and digital also gives you reach.
Yeah.
So in that way, the whole idea of Communicate Karo came up. So simple, how I can help organization, institution to better communicate themselves in a very simple way, using digital media tools, using how social media functions,
Yeah.
what kind of a video work there, how do you draft a good caption, who are the people who should be tagging it. And so a lot of things is also about doing good research,
Yeah.
then jumping into solution. Unfortunately, we are always jump to solution, and we really don't go to the why part. So
Yeah.
one of the thing of Communicate Karo is to also understand the why part, why something is happening. And once you are able to deep dive into it, and then you will be able to come with a solution.
Yeah.
So that's what we are trying to do through Communicate Karo.
So when did you came up with this idea? Like, I need to open, like, what made you just had a moment that no, this need to come out?
So one thing is also that working as an individual is a different, and
Yeah.
when you go as a company, as an organization, there's a different kind of acceptance. So one thing, I also wanted to build my own brand. So that's the whole idea of Communicate Karo came up, because as an individual, I can take multiple projects, but I have to take the larger projects and big projects. You need to have a company and organization which basically working on these things. So that's why I thought, okay, individual is good and well, but I also have to work on Communicate Karo.
Yeah.
And that's why, and a lot of companies also ask you, okay, what company you represent.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to have Communicate Karo as a company, as an organization,
Yeah.
to address those needs.
That's an answer that we all look out
Yes.
for, because we all need an organization to represent ourselves in
Yes.
big companies when you go.
And you also disassociate your own self with
Yeah.
brand, because brand has certain values, certain representation. Me as an individual have certain values and principles.
Yeah.
Being as an individual is a different, and
Yeah.
when you go as a company, as an organization, there's a different kind of acceptance. So one thing, I also wanted to build my own brand. So that's the whole idea of Communicate Karo came up, because as an individual, I can take multiple projects, but I have to take the larger projects and big projects. You need to have a company and organization which basically working on these things. So that's why I thought, okay, individual is good and well, but I also have to work on Communicate Karo.
Yeah.
And that's why, and a lot of companies also ask you, okay, what company you represent.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to have Communicate Karo as a company, as an organization,
Yeah.
to address those needs.
That's an answer that we all look out
Yes.
for, because we all need an organization to represent ourselves in
Yes.
big companies when you go.
And you also disassociate your own self with
Yeah.
brand, because brand has certain values, certain representation. Me as an individual have certain values and principles.
Yeah.
So that kind of a thing.
Okay. That's an amazing answer, sir. So back when we were talking about all your breaks and journalism, you talked about one thing, which was fellowship program. So, sir, how does one get into it, and how can one person be passionate about to crack that thing and be a part of it?
So I am very lucky and very fortunate to able to crack one of the few of the top fellowship programs. So I think for a young people, fellowship program is very important, because it gives you a different set of exposure, different than academia. You get to meet very interesting mentors. You get to meet very interesting individuals from different diverse background to come and work on certain things, certain initiative. So at present, there's a very popular platforms like Youth Opportunities or Opportunity Desk, which basically list out all these fellowship programs, not just which are available in Indian context, but also globally. And most of these fellowship programs are also free of cost. You simply have to apply based on their criteria. They select you, and then you will able to experience a different world altogether. So as a young person, try to look at what kind of portfolio you have and how can you use that existing portfolio to apply for these fellowship programs. Be participate in extracurricular activities, participate in community projects, community initiatives, and you can also do online. A lot of works is now possible to do remote work. Build your portfolio, build your growth, and then start applying for these fellowship programs. And there's a huge scope out there.
So basically, what is the criteria one should have to apply for a fellowship program?
So these fellowship program have different criteria. Sometimes they have age criteria. Sometimes they have, like for example, someone who is working on gender and fellowship. So if you are a person who's working on gender or women rights, you can always go and apply for those kind of fellowship programs. Some fellowship programs are community initiatives, or some fellowship programs on sustainable mobility. Some fellowship programs on just on individual growth. So that kind of a thing. So you can pick and choose based on your interest area and based kind of what kind of profile you have built, and then you can apply. So in general, there is not a very strict criteria. They only look at what kind of individual you are, and what kind of a personality you have, and what kind of intent you have to drive a change. There are platforms like Global Shapers Community, like in Ahmedabad and other 500 hubs all across the globe. You can become a Global Shapers. You have to apply there, do some local projects, and then also gives you a very global exposure.
True. So when we start applying to this, we all feel that, okay, maybe it's not the right time and I'm not ready for it. So how does one fight that feeling? And how does just apply for it without thinking about it twice?
So see, until unless you don't apply, you will never realize that why you're getting rejected. So once you apply, then you will get to know what kind of criteria they are looking at, and whether you are able to address those criteria or not. Or maybe you have a different set of interest area, but you're applying in something completely different. So you have to also align it. Like for example, I was very much into sustainable mobility. I was very much into climate change. So I was very focused into these particular aspects, and that's how I started applying for these programs. So, and because as a student also, there's a lot of fellowship program of 5 days, 7 days, 10 days, and depending upon what the fellowship is bringing. And there are platforms like Dev Creative, and there are a lot of available resources right now, which is not when I started. So I go and look for information, look for fellowship programs. But now there are dedicated platforms they are listing these fellowship programs. You simply have to go check, find whether you match it or not, and then start applying. So please don't hesitate in applying for any fellowship program. Apply, you might be rejected. Next time again apply.
That's an impactful answer. That's for all of us, I feel like, because we all somewhere in the heart feel the scaredness of just being rejected from applying it. But if we'll not apply till the point, we'll not realize that where we are going wrong.
Yes.
So it's really important for us to apply.
And one last thing which I also like to add, like for example, also build your own personal brand. Like for example, I've been selected as LinkedIn Creator Accelerator, which is among 200 from across India, and we get exposure by interacting with LinkedIn team globally, and we are able to know how LinkedIn functions, and got to also train by Nas Daily or Ankur Wariko, and a kind of a session we used to have with them. So there's a lot of digital available platform where you can build your own personal brand. Start talking about things which you like. Start talking about the journey in which, whether it's management or other domain, what are the new things which you are learning. So you can always create these, use this platform for personal branding. So don't wait that you're going to, after college life, you're going to build your own LinkedIn. You should start now. So that even recruiters are now going through your LinkedIn account, looking at what kind of personality you have, what kind of background you have, what kind of a skill set you have, what kind of a temperament you have, what kind of a skill set you have. So these are the good opportunities where you can build your personal brand and you can communicate to the larger audience.
That's nice. And how you as an entrepreneur of Communicate Karo would like to, give us an example for a, like, as we are all managerial school students. So how do you think that we all should start our own brand? Because I'm sure most of us would definitely want to go into this and would definitely want to start their own brand. What advice you could give to us?
So there's a very interesting concept called build in public. Like for example, there are a lot of young entrepreneurs, and they keep on sharing their journey that they are working on these projects. These are the challenges they are facing. These are the small wins they have. So as a managerial student, you should be very clear ki what kind of a goal you have set for yourself, and how you can build a community around it. Like for example, tomorrow you want to start your own company. So how you are talking about the problem statement,
Yeah.
and whether you look for people who are working on those problem statement, you will build connections, you will build network. At the same time, you will always keep updating about that particular problem.
Yeah.
So in that way, you'll be able to build your own expertise and also your own personal brand, that you are someone who is working on this particular domain, and I am, as a person who's interested, can go and always have a connect.
Yeah.
So that kind of a thing. And on LinkedIn, it's not just about your own immediate contacts, but like for example, LinkedIn, the best thing is that if you have posted certain thing, and if I have liked it, suddenly my own whole network or people will be able to
Yeah, see it.
know what you have posted and what kind of a connect we have.
Yeah.
So be as vocal as possible, be as humble as possible, because people appreciate humbleness.
Yeah.
And be also as innovative as possible.
Yeah.
All these things can be possible. The only thing which is required is that someone has to take the first step. So all the game of first step. If you've taken the first step, half of your battle is won.
Yeah, like taking risk is what
Yes.
basically is
Yes.
an important thing. Thank you, sir. It was great having you on this podcast, and we would love to hear more further.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.